Welcome back. Okay, so now we're going to do something new. Not new, you've been doing it since grade 9, but we're going to make it more interesting. We're going to expand. Let's remember what expand means. Expanding means distribute. So this 5 needs to be multiplied by everything in that x plus 3. Now let me make something very clear to you. This is the same as writing it like that. It's the exact same. Now we don't write it like that because, let's face it, it looks weird. But that's what it means. It's 5 times x plus 3. So this becomes 5x plus 15. Life is grand. We take the 5 and multiply it by everything inside. There's nothing hard here. The 11. The 11's got to go to all 3. So it's 11x squared minus 66x plus 44. There's nothing hard here. 2 ways to do this. 2 ways. Here's the first way. Negative x squared minus 9. Because what I did was I took the negative 1 and I took it in. Oh, the studio audience are throwing things at me now. That's okay. They have bad aim, so I'm going to be safe. Here's another way to do it. Now let me be perfectly clear. I do not want you doing it this way. I do not want you doing it this way. But I do think there's value in understanding how this works. Let's say I just took the 1 in and not the negative. I left the negative on the outside. Now take the negative in. Do they equal the same thing? They do. But what's easier? Take the negative 1 all at once and take it in. Now, that was expanding. That was cool. What we want to do now is we want to factor. We want to do the opposite. So expanding and common factoring are opposites of each other. I'm going to zoom in because it's better for the kids at home, but the studio, no, yeah, it's better for the kids at home. So how are we? We're good here? So expand, common factor. They're opposite operations. So this has a 5x and a 15. I'm going to write it differently. That still says 5x plus 15. Do you agree with me? Do you notice that they both have a 5? Or a multiple of 5. They both have a 5 in common. Hence, this is called common factoring. You take out what they both have as a multiple, this 5, and you put it on the outside, and you say, okay, well, if they both have a 5, we'll just put it out there, and what we're left with is x plus 3. And what that means is the 5 goes to the x and the 5 goes to the 3, which means it's really 5x plus 15. And that's common factoring. So we're going to look at this one. This actually has an 11 times an x squared minus an 11 times a 6 times an x plus an 11 times a 4. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I never, ever, 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 ever in my wildest dreams want you to write this out other than right now. But I want you to think this way. They all have a multiple of 11 in them. So what that means is, if I take the multiple of 11 out, what I'm left with is 11x squared divided by 11, 66 divided by 11, 44 divided by 11, and that's common factored because there's 2 factors. This is one factor, this is the other factor. X squared minus 9. Well, they both have a negative. So if I want to take a negative 1 out of both of them, let's rewrite it so that you see it. And again, I would never, ever, ever want you to rewrite it like that, but I want you to see what's happening. I'm going to take the negative 1 on the outside, and it's going to leave me with x squared divided by negative 1, negative 9 divided by negative 1, And that's how we common factor. So, giving the studio audience a chance to finish copying that down. We're going to bring this back. I'm going to get, there we go. Look at the next question. It doesn't say what type of factoring to do. It just says factor, which means you're now responsible for two types of factoring. One is common factoring that we just covered, and the other one is trinomial factoring, like we did before. Question from the studio audience. Yes?
Sir, that C, isn't that supposed to be -9 in the brackets?
Absolutely not. What a good question. Let's take a look. Notice if I expand this back in, what I'll get. -1 times x squared is -x squared. -1 times 9, positive, is -9. So what's happened is we common factored out a negative from each of the -x squared and the -9. I'm going to stop the video here and I'll be right back.